They played 11 guys tonight, and obviously down the stretch they were able to pull away a little bit. Is fatigue a factor late in these games here?
Well, we had a chance to tie the ball game, so it's a hard-fought game. Both games came down to the last play, so, it's whatever you think it is.
Yeah, I had to start off with that clip with a bunch of Knicks fans attacking the guy, or also harassing that person with the Pacers jersey. This was before the series really started, I believe, and it hasn't been aging well ever since. Now that the Knicks are down 3-1, we're going to get into all of this. Specifically with Tom Thibodeau, he's been getting either a lot of criticism or just being put in a lot of conversations where they're discussing his coaching changes, what he's trying to do. Rick Carlisle, on the other hand, is playing with house money. Nobody looked at the Pacers and thought they would be one game away from going to the NBA Finals. So when the reporter is asking Thibodeau, they played 11 guys, is fatigue a factor? This was after game 1, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It definitely wasn't anything game 3 and beyond. And Thibodeau is saying, hey man, it's a close game. You can think whatever you want. That plays into the stigma that Thibodeau plays his top guys heavy minutes, does not want to rely on his bench, especially against a Pacers team that may want to purposely tire you out since they play at a high pace and are willing to go deep in their rotation. Now, we know Thibodeau made changes. I'm going to get into that and why it may have been too late based off of a clip that I have from Jokic. But first, let me play what Charles Barkley had to say, and let's slowly unravel all of this.
Indiana wants to play like this. And this is only game 1. And if the Knicks try to run with the Pacers, because the Pacers, you can see Ojanobi, he's struggling. He is struggling trying to keep this pace up. If the Knicks think they're going to run 7 games with the Pacers, they're going to lose this series.
Y'all remember when Mikal Bridges, the NBA's Iron Man for not missing any games, came out and said he talked to Thibodeau about reducing the minutes for the starters on the Knicks? Thibodeau said that conversation didn't happen, and then he went on to explain he plays his guys heavy minutes, specifically the wing players, because those are his best defenders and they need to be out on the court guarding the best players. And OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, even a Josh Hart. On the surface level, if you look at this Pacers team, you realize they don't rely on one player on the perimeter or any player in general to beat you. It's a collective. So this philosophy Tom Thibodeau would have going into game 1 and 2 would be a bad one, right? But here's the thing. This is a Indiana Pacers team that beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, the number 1 team in the East that has 64 wins. They beat a Milwaukee Bucks team that some would say they didn't really believe in the first place. Damian Lillard dealing with injuries, but the Bucks had by far the best player hands down on the team with Giannis Antetokounmpo, former MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, a champion. So he could have easily still won that series, but that didn't happen. Now, when you look at the Knicks, they beat a Boston Celtics team where they were not favored to win that series either. They were the underdogs. I'm saying all of this to say you can't really blame Tom Thibodeau if he beats a team like the Celtics and then he's going up against the Pacers and now he's losing when the Pacers have been defying odds themselves.
And I got to give a lot of love to Tom Thibodeau for going against what we know. He played them last night and he utilized his bench. And I got to give a lot of love for Tom Thibodeau to going against the grain, to doing the kind of thing that a Ty Lue would do, that a never exposed to would do.
He's not going to take Karl-Anthony Towns or Jalen Brunson out of the starting lineup. And here's why I say that. Both of those guys are defensive liabilities. So what Tibbs is trying to do, he's trying to find a way to cover up for what they lack defensively. Because to be honest, Mikal Bridges, you just pointed out the stats before we went to break. He hasn't been that guy that they want him to be for us being a stopper on the wing. OG Anunoby has been inconsistent. So you need to try to find something. And I think what Tibbs is looking at from an offensive standpoint, he said, hey, if Towns and Rudy Gobert have success playing alongside one another, then why can't Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns have success offensively as well?
My question at this point would be, and genuinely I want to know, hit me up in the comment section, what more could Tom Thibodeau do? In game 3, he inserted Mitchell Robinson into the starting lineup, taking out Josh Hart, and maybe that was due to him wanting to have a fresh defender off of the bench that could go play on the perimeter and harass the ball handler. And that also ties into what Perkins was talking about with OG Anunoby, inconsistencies, and then you could also tie that into what Charles Barkley was talking talking about in game 1 during halftime, saying that OG looked like he couldn't keep up with the pace. And if that's not enough, Thibodeau is now playing about 10 players. I see DeLon Wright out there, Landry Shamet. He's going deeper in his rotation. Normally in the playoffs, you're not supposed to do that. From a conventional standpoint, you usually shorten the rotation to about 8 players, nothing more, maybe 9, and the 9th player just plays a few minutes. So you can't say that Thibodeau is stuck in his ways. He's even going against traditionally what most coaches would do, which is play a tight rotation.
The Thunder, they tried to make a point to wear you guys down with their depth throughout this series. You guys were obviously playing a shorter rotation for most of it. But as far as depth, what do you sort of think this team needs most?
I think we played so long for such a way, and it's hard for the guys to step up and especially against two really good teams, Clippers and OKC. We cannot ask for somebody who didn't play maybe 20-30 games to jump in and be good and expect him to be good,
To be fair and objective, I had to play that Nikola Jokic clip where he's explaining you can't just throw in guys who haven't played a lot in the season in these high-stake playoff games and expect they're going to have a significant impact once they come in. That's the only other criticism you could say with Tom Thibodeau. Other than that, let me know in the comment section if you have something more you want to point out that you feel like I'm missing. One last thing, of the 293 previous teams in NBA history that were up 3-1 in a playoff series, 96% of the time they went on to close out that series and win. If Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks don't end up being that 4 to 5% that defy the odds, I don't think you could put this blame on him at all, or the entire blame, I should say. Like, share, and subscribe, comment below. I'm going to leave you with one more clip from ESPN to really solidify the whole point that I'm trying to make in this video.
I kind of feel like sometimes when I watch Cat and Jalen Brunson, I wonder if that's a little bit of fool's gold. Right? Obviously, I know what Cat can do offensively, but where they were defensively is the problem. Now, look, last night, 17 turnovers, 22 points in transition for Indy. But there were so many times, Doggy and SA, where I watched where Cat wasn't even in the screen defensively when these possessions were going through and how fast these fast breaks were. And when I have people at the game that are talking to me about Tibbs telling Cat in a game 4 that you can't jog back on defense. I mean, go watch the tape. I slept there 2 hours last night watching a lot of this tape over and over, and there are so many plays where I don't see Cat in the play.